Welcome back to our 61st episode of the Launch Your Farm Show, where I interview Scott Pierce from Listings to Leads. In this episode, Scott and I talk about why leads from your farm are the best type of leads you can get and how you can start generating them quickly. And Scott shares how agents can use offline and online marketing strategies to maximize your returns. Scott shares what you can do to create a ton of content for your follow-up systems that won't take a ton of your time. And we talk about a super easy way to use reports and guides to position yourself as the expert in your community and generate more leads for your business. And we talk about how you can use your passions and interests to connect with your potential audience and add value to their lives. Plus, we talk about a ton of other ideas that you can use to grow your geographic farm. So be sure to check out this episode, like and subscribe, and enjoy the episode with Scott. Welcome back to another episode of the Launch Your Farm Show. I'm your host, Ryan Smith, and today we've got a great guest. It's Scott Pierce from Listings to Leads. So Scott, take a second, tell us a bit about yourself and why you're here.
Hey, Ryan, thanks for having me. Yeah, my name is Scott Pierce with Listings to Leads. I'm the founder. We started in 2009. I was a real estate agent at Coldwell Banker, Sotheby's, and a few independents, and started doing some things at Sotheby's that led to the founding of Listings to Leads. And here we are about 12 years later.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a great program, and I really love what you do. So I want to dive into some of the strategies and things like that, but talk to us about how that kind of started and how you evolved into the technology you've created.
Yeah, so I started posting our listings from Sotheby's. I was the director of online marketing there for 4 offices in Northern California. And I started putting our listings on Craigslist in such a way that we just started pulling in multi-million-dollar leads like crazy. And I actually went to my broker and said, hey, we need to take this and spread this out to other Sotheby's offices and maybe charge them a little bit of money. Yeah. He was not interested. And I even ran up the flagpole to Sotheby's corporate. Not interested. Thank God, because I quit and started the company.
That's awesome.
And it's been an awesome ride for the last 12 years.
Yeah, it's been cool to see the evolution of your systems and what you've done coming from that initial just posting on Craigslist. So obviously we're talking about farming, and it's a big thing to grow your database, to get connected in the community. So can you talk a bit about what you do, and then we can talk about get into the more details of how you can be using systems and tools.
Yeah, so we're primarily a marketing lead gen company, also branding as well. And so our primary focus is generating leads. And I don't really care where those leads come from, as long as they're real estate leads, buyers and sellers predominantly. Yep. And so, Facebook advertising is really huge for us. But we have found, and I'm sure we'll talk about this, that the best leads, the best quality listing leads is directly into the farm. So yeah. Facebook is awesome for the quantity of leads, but if you want high quality listing leads, we got some tools where you can use them in your farm area. And those are by far, hands down, the best quality listing leads I think that you're ever going to get.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to dive into some of the things you can do in your farm, because I think for a lot of agents, they struggle with, they know they should be going after listings. They know they should be getting some leads from there, and they just don't know what to do. They've been told you got to go out and door knock. They got to tell you, oh, maybe I just mail out some mailers. And then really agents struggle with, how do I get leads in the area? So what have you found in your years of experience doing this? What has been working for agents, and how are people getting leads from their farm and their community?
Yeah, I want to answer that a couple of different ways, because
Absolutely.
I have gone through some of your previous calls, and to any agent watching this, I mean, just go back and look through some of Ryan's previous calls. You're not going to go wrong with any of them, right? Everyone's going to have a different style, something that really speaks to them. You're not going to go wrong with any of them. And so from Listings to Leads perspective, we got a couple of tools. One is called a nearby homeowner's letter. So it's an 8.5 by 11 letter that's absolutely brilliant. Our clients will either door knock, they'll door drop, they will mail them. Had a funny story from about a month ago. A client took one of these letters, and she went door knocking in a 55 and older community. So this is California, and it was in August, so full on COVID lockdowns and everything. And so she would knock on the door, take a few steps back, hand them the letter. And the letters have to do with a listing in the area. So want to let you know about an open house, a listing that's pending, a listing that's just sold. So she was walking around, and the first person she talked to told her to get lost. And the second person was $1 million listing, and she got the buy and the sell side.
Wow.
So this is an agent, 55 and older herself. in a community in California with COVID lockdowns, still crushing it, not door knocking. I realize that's not for everybody, obviously,
Yep.
but we got door hangers, postcards, letters that all kind of speak to the same idea. And it's really from a customer service perspective.
Mhm.
So when we talk and train our clients on how to use these tools, it's not a sales thing, right?
Yep.
You're just letting people know about something happening in their local area. And our clients find that people, if they don't, if they, for example, mail them, for example, they may get a call a day later, a week later, a month later. A lot of times our clients will overlay like the robocall, no, not robocalls, but like land voice or other type of dialers on
Yep.
top of it. So they'll send out the postcards or letters, or they'll even door drop them and then call a couple of days later.
Yep.
And dude, I'm telling you, that is, Facebook ads are awesome. You're going to get a ton of leads from Facebook. But when you are in the farm and you're speaking to the farm, the quality of the leads is that much higher.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important, like you said, it's you're not coming from a sales perspective, you're coming from an education and from a help perspective. And a lot of agents have been taught, and the past way of how to do real estate farming is that you just blast your name out there to enough people and you tell them how great you are and how many homes you sell. And the reality is most people want to know that you care about them. They want to know that you care about the community that you're serving, and they want to know that you're there to help them and educate them if they need it. And it's not always about real estate, and it's not always just about how many homes sell. There's all different types. It's how to prepare for your home for sale, but it's also about the community. It's also about stats and information. So what have you seen working with the education component of it?
Dude, that is an awesome question. And you may not even know this, because I know you're a client a while back ago. But we recently introduced 50 plus PDF guides that are all branded to our clients.
Nice.
So 5 dangers of overpricing your home, 10 ways to increase your home value for the least amount of money. So 50 plus, 25 for sellers and homeowners, 25 for buyers. Nice. And on the Facebook ad side of things, we are finding our clients are actually generating some good quality seller leads. Name, email, and phone number. These are all Facebook and Instagram lead ads, but they're promoting guides, right? So again, 25 plus for homeowners and sellers. And, it's awesome to show your coming soon listing or your open house. Yeah. It's really awesome to show a just sold listing and how you got that thing sold. But if you can also show, hey, click here to download a guide on the 5 dangers of overpricing your home and other expert topics like that, that really helps make you that expert. And you can do that to your database that we'll talk about in a little bit. But from a Facebook ad perspective, those types of leads are usually about twice as much money as a regular lead that you may get from advertising a home. Right. But when I say double, I'm talking like $5 to $10 a seller lead with name, email, and phone number, because we're not just advertising a pending, a sold, an open house, but we're advertising, information, right? Again, 5 dangers of overpricing your home, 10 top secrets of seller negotiations, even about appraisals and things like that, that homeowners have questions about. They don't know, they've heard of it, and so now we're able to put in our clients' hands this information that they can now share with people in their local area.
And I think part of that too is, like you said, it might cost a bit more, but the people that are looking for that are looking for more information than just looking at listings or just going, what's my home worth? And also you provided that information. So you're being seen as that expert in their eyes versus the average agent who just sent out I just listed a home, or find out how much your home's worth. So you're positioning yourself. And that's one of the things I talk about all the time is how to position yourself. And when you can do that correctly through education, that really helps elevate your status and to be seen as that go-to person.
Yeah, for sure. And imagine if you get a lead, name, email, and phone number off a report called 5 dangers of overpricing your home. You know what the follow-up is going to be. They asked about 5 dangers. And so now when you follow up with them, you know what they want to talk about. Right. So it becomes a much better conversation versus you just shooting in the dark about, did you want to see the home? Are you looking in the area? Yada, that kind of, stuff where you're trying to qualify that lead. Lead is pretty much qualified at this point. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So one of the things I talk about and I teach all the time, I call it my scope method. And it's basically you take different approaches and you layer them together, and I call it strategy stacking. And scope stands for self-promotion, community, online, prospecting and education. And the more you can layer those strategies together, the more you're going to resonate with people, the more you're going to capture people, the more you're going to be able to protect yourself. So what have you seen working well together where you can kind of cross promote some of those strategies to make sure you're getting more people?
Let me try to answer it this way if I can. And I'm going to back up just a little bit.
Sure.
So I am a founder of a tech company. And one thing that agents may not realize is a lot of, especially startups like apps and stuff like that, they are not valued on profit or even revenue hardly at all. What they're valued on is the number of users that they have in their system. All right. And so I want real estate agents to think about their database as users, all right, not drug users. I'm talking about like an app or things like that. And so it's a little hard to explain, but imagine you're running a bunch of ads and you're bringing people into your database. You're generating leads. Don't think about this as a cost per lead straight up and that's it, because you are now assembling a database full of local people. Right, we're assuming we're running our ads in a local area. So I'm building a database full of local people. There's a lot of value to that above and beyond you sending them information about real estate. And I'm getting this from some of your other calls that you did in the past. And this is why I recommend for other people, go back and listen to some other Ryan's previous calls, because I did, and I was super inspired. And with my experience and as a tech founder, as someone that talks to real estate agents every single day, some of the interviews that you did really put the light bulb off in my head, because I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, okay, we are an awesome platform for generating leads. Our clients generate hundreds of leads a month, no problem. We've got tools to help engage those leads, all these PDF guides and things like that. But what really hit me with some of your other interviews that you've done is, as an agent with 500, 2,000, 5,000 leads in your database, wouldn't a local lawyer, a local nutritionist, a local fitness person, a local CPA love to have access to those people? Right? Wouldn't it be super easy for you to go to these kinds of people in your local area, solicit content like a monthly article from them, like almost like a blog post that you can then share with your database, so that you are now like the distribution point between local experts and your database with relevant information that would be, stuff that people would like to hear about in your local area from local experts. And I got that idea from some of your other interviews that you did. I'm thinking, God, listings to leads. We are awesome at generating leads. We are awesome at providing these guides that help you give more expert information to your local area. But don't think about your database as just your little thing, that you're marketing to. Bring in other experts, right? I was thinking, I have a trainer that I go to a couple of times a week at the gym. I am sure he would love to be able to write a little kind of a monthly type of piece, maybe even include a video that's dedicated for my database that I could share with my database. And and as an agent, I'm providing even more value to my local people. And like you said, you don't want to always be leading with real estate, right? It gets old, it gets tired. And I was thinking, man, a local nutritionist, a trainer, a CPA, a lawyer, I could easily assemble. And imagine I go to these people and I say, hey, I'm Scott Pierce with L2L Realty. I got 5,000 local people on my database. I'm sending them content every week, every month, whatever it is. And I would love to see if you want to be interested in giving me something once a month to share with my audience. Right? Don't even call it a database. It's your audience of X number of people. Listings to leads will help you grow that database. Easy. All right. So, and that's where I got really inspired by watching some of your other things of saying, make this fun. Right. Make this thing, follow your passions. If you got a passion around nutrition, around working out, around photography, assemble a little team together, start getting content and using your database as the conduit for that.
Exactly. Yeah. And I tell agents that. Yeah, absolutely. And I say that to agents all the time, is that you have an opportunity to provide value, not just in real estate, when you look at their life and what matters to them, and you look at the community you're serving, what other things would benefit them? Is there stuff going on in the community? Is there events going on? Is there people you can help educate with through, like you said, lawyers, trainers, whatever? And when you do that, you kind of check off a number of boxes. You're providing content for your audience, you're building relationships with local business owners and people in the community, and then you're also extending your reach to their audience. And this is something I talk all the time about, is the one to many. And if I can interview someone or have someone on my show or have someone who has an audience, I'm going to now hopefully reach their audience as well, because they're going to want to share. They're going to want to showcase, like, hey, I was featured on something. I was on this. So when you have these local businesses and you're highlighting them and they're highlighting their information, they're going to go tell their friends and they're going to share it on their, it was in wrote an article for a magazine and I just posted on my social media today. So I'm sharing the magazine because it makes me feel good. It makes me look good that I'm in a magazine. So having these businesses absolutely helps you extend your reach and provide content and then build a relationship, which is super powerful.
Yeah. And it's almost like your small private BNI group, right? Where you
exactly
professionals that are all, and it's not, to me, it's not about, where's my referral this week? That's not what it's about, right? Because the business will come from it. And here's the thing. It's not that easy for a trainer to build a database, right? Real estate agents really have a golden spot here, in that real estate agents, especially the program like Listings to Leads, and there are others, of course, but where a real estate agent can easily, any real estate agent listening to this could build a database of 500 leads in 2 or 3 months, no problem, right? Building the database is easy. All right. It's following up with that database that gets kind of hard, because, it's writing all of your own follow-ups, is difficult. We're not all copywriters. Buying your standard follow-ups typically fall flat, right? Most follow-up plans are pretty weak. And we don't want to create custom content every week. That gets really old really fast. But if I could have 4, I was thinking about, when I was watching some of your other videos, I was thinking, God, if I had 4 or 5 partners in this, where again, a trainer, a nutritionist, a CPA, maybe a local restaurant person. And I just say, hey, once a month, I want you to send me an article. And I just took that article, I uploaded it into whatever CRM I'm using. I put my template around it, sent it out to my database. Dude, talk about, and like you said, they're going to put me in front of their audience, because they're going to go, hey, Scott Pierce just, highlighted me, and I want to share that with you so you can see this press that I'm getting locally. It's a beautiful kind of a self-evolving cycle.
Yeah, exactly. And again, they're going to share even more because they're going to build relationships with them. No other agents are going to be doing that with them, or unlikely they're going to be doing stuff like that. So they're going to be more likely to work with you and refer you as well. And that's a big part of it. And it's going back to, I teach the CPR, which is community positioning relationships. It's the relationships. You're strengthening the relationships. You're serving the community. And then in the middle, you're positioning yourself as that expert and ambassador by doing that. And it really helps elevate your game. So I want to dive in.
Real quick. And that's why I think the real estate agent needs to understand, your database is so much more than what you think it is, right? Your database is not just 100 leads I've got and they're buyer or sellers, right? Your database is a lot more valuable than that, because again, all these local people, they do not have the access to lead gen tools like real estate agents do. And so they are sitting there dying to get in front of people. And so if you got this, if you're sitting there generating leads, and let's say an average, like some of our clients are generating leads at, buyer leads at $1 to $3 a piece. All right. And maybe sell a lead, you're looking at $5 to $10 a piece. So if you're doing the math from a purely lead gen for me perspective, that's one thing. But if you're doing it from the perspective of, I'm building this database that is going to be able to be leveraged by other experts in the area, and it's going to allow me to increase my influence with other people, like what you're training and what you're talking about. Dude, it's just that's where the sum of the parts are greater, right? The whole is greater than the sum of the parts there.
So if you were looking at getting started, and an agent's kind of trying to grow their database, I get people coming to me all the time, say, I don't have a database, I don't even want to market to. What kind of strategies are you seeing working? You mentioned the reports, and you mentioned some online stuff and Facebook ads. Like, what are you seeing agents do in their community and their farms that are getting quick results, that are still cost effective and being able to grow that?
Yeah, well, as a founder of Listings to Leads, I would say, of course, sign up for Listings to Leads. whether you have listings or not, you can borrow listings, you can use your own listings, our Facebook and Instagram. So we have a tool that can launch Facebook and Instagram lead ads. And those are the ads where you get name, email, and phone number automatically. And literally one click. You select the listing, the location autofills, everything is done, click publish, boom, you're off and running. You can use property videos, your images, whatever. But so the idea is just start running ads, right? Start running ads. Some of those leads are going to pop sooner than later, right? And you're going to follow up with those leads like you normally would. But I want you to really think about the fact that I'm not just building a database of real estate leads. I'm building a database of local people that we can then, and I'm going to say market to, and I mean market more in the way that Seth Godin might mean it, where it's like, I'm giving value, right? It's not just about sales, because I'll tell you, one of the things that I think increase sales the most is when you're just servicing people, right? Or serving people. They'll do business with you when they need to do business. You don't need to ask all the time, every single time you talk to them, are you looking to buy or sell right now?
Yeah, exactly. That value is so important. And that's a big part that a lot of agents miss because they're so focused on the transaction and
what's that scarcity mindset?
100%. And they focus on just the real estate side of things, or just trying to get the next deal. And it's like, if you realize, like you said, they're people, their names, phone numbers, and email address, but they're still people on the other side of it. They're human beings, and they have needs, wants, desires in life, not just in the real estate world. If we can help them do that, we can help position ourselves as the expert. We can help build relationships. We can help strengthen that, and we can do that in a way that we enjoy. And that's a big part of what I teach as well, is doing strategies that you're going to actually enjoy. Because if you hate real estate and you hate the daily grind of it, you're not going to last. But if you can put things in there that you like, if you like to connect, if you like to network, if you like to be involved with businesses or fundraisers and things like that, you're going to be able to do a lot more with it and stick around.
And if you hate the gym, don't get a trainer to work with, right? Get some other people, but I would think, like, if you can get 4 local people that they don't have to compliment you. They just have to be, of course, not competitors, and I would probably avoid the mortgage, right? We don't, in my mind, when I think this through, I don't want to sit here and talk about mortgages. I want to talk about fun things like photography and fitness, and because that's what I love, right? And so everyone's going to be a little bit different. So, think of like, all right, what are the things that I love that other people might? It could be interior design. Right. It could be things like that, but, and again, and make it a passion project. Right.
You mentioned the canned follow-up responses from a lot of people. What are you seeing that's working for a lot of people? Because you're seeing the back end of people sending messages. What kind of stuff are you seeing that's getting responses now that people are resonating with and seeing a return from?
I'll tell you what, a really easy one is taking those PDF guides that we've got and actually just dropping it into the CRM. So we're coming out with a follow-up kind of a module here pretty soon. But we're talking to our clients. They're like, hey, take these PDF guides. They're all branded to you, right? We have English and Spanish for all of them. And so one of our clients did it. And so he did a test. This guy's been around for a decade or longer, a top producer. And so he took one of the guides, sent it to 300 of his coldest leads. Now he's got thousands of leads, but he had 300, never responded to anything, never had any contact with them at all. Sent them one of the guides, got a 10% response rate.
Wow.
10%. And again, the coldest leads that he had. So I would say, whatever follow-up you're doing, if it's working great, keep doing it. But if you're feeling like, you feel like you're not getting the response that you need, if you're a client of ours, look inside of your library for the PDF guides and just pick one, right? Don't overthink it. That's another thing that too many people do, is they overthink things. But just pick one, download it. You can upload it into whatever CRM you're using and write up a nice little blurb to go along with it and see what kind of response rate you get. And here's the thing though, and you know this, do it every other week for at least 2 to 3 months before you say it doesn't work.
Exactly.
Because nothing works the first time through. The only thing that happens the first time through is, right, first time you go work out, you're sore as hell the next day. The first time you make a dinner, it's probably not as good as it looked like in the magazine. So the first time you do something will be the worst you've ever done it, hopefully. And then you'll just improve and get better over time. But, again, we've got 25 plus for sellers and homeowners, 25 plus for buyers. So don't feel like you're going to do it one and done. Try to commit to doing it every other week for a couple of months and then seeing what and I'm pretty sure you're going to have a good response from it.
Yeah, I just recently recorded an episode with Kevin Kendrick in Orlando, and he was saying that when he started his farm, he's wildly successful in his farm, but he said 3 months he was doing events and things like that and got nothing. And it was the fourth month that he did the event, and he got a listing, then he got another listing. He said, if I would have given up and I was about ready to give up, he said, I would have went from, he's doing $60 million a year with his team. He said, I would have stayed at a $5 million team, because he said, I didn't catch that. And so he says, you have to stick around. And so many people do that. And I say they attempt farming and they don't really stick around. And I call it just failed marketing. It's not real farming. Farming is consistency over time. And if you keep doing that, you'll see the results. So I want to dive into, because I know one of the big things you're a believer in is mixing offline and online marketing, the print mailers, postcards, but also the online. So what are you seeing working well? Because I find a lot of agents will play in one space or the other, and they're not combining the two. So what kind of strategies have you seen that works well marrying the offline and online?
Yeah, no, totally. And I tell everybody, it's a multi-channel approach, right? That's what the big people do. And so, you're going to be doing your Facebook and Instagram ads, your social media ads, your postings and things like that. But you cannot rely on that. I mean, I know we think everybody's on social media because we're on social media. I can promise you a lot of people are not on social media. And if they are, they're on for a very little bit of time. If it, hardly. So, and even for the ones that are, you still want that offline experience, right? And so that's where our letters, our postcards, our door hangers, and I tell our clients, you're running an ad around a listing, right? We got the plus 15 miles of real estate, special housing ad category and all that kind of stuff. And, we realize, for example, we're going to do a mailing or door knocking, you can't do the whole city plus 15 miles. So you're gonna kind of pick your battles with that part of it. But you definitely want to be doing all of it. In fact, we've even got tools for the seller social media, the seller sphere of influence as well. And we would love, think about follow-up, right? Normally takes, the numbers range between 6 and 15 follow-ups before people even know who you are. And the same thing goes with advertising. And so if we're going to rely on one channel for people to see us, that's a lot of money we need to spend. Social media attention is so fleeting that they may see our ad, they may even click our ad, but if people are anything like me, they forgot they were even on Facebook 5 minutes later, right? Exactly. So I may click an ad, you may call me in 2 minutes, and I may go, what? Like, who is that? Right? Because I'm so busy, like we all are. But if I get a postcard or I get that letter, and this is what we hear a lot from our clients is they sent out the letter, and 2 months later, they get a phone call and they go to the house to do a listing appointment, and that letter is still sitting there on the kitchen table. Because I think that letter in particular meets that kind of criteria of it doesn't get thrown away, and it kind of sits on that pile in the kitchen somewhere where people put all that stuff that they're going to get to a little bit later. And so it sits in that pile forever and ever and ever and ever until they need it. And then they go find it and they call the agent up. But I'll tell you what, even if you use that letter every single day to every single home in your farm, you still want to do social media because people want to see. And here's the thing about social media that I think a lot of people fall down on is they advertise their listing. All right, which is great. But in a perfect world, you're advertising a listing, yours or not, where you got permission, of course. You're advertising maybe a pending or sold listing where you're either the listing or selling agent, because we want people to know I can actually get things into contract and sold. And we also want to advertise a couple of PDF guides for both buyers and homeowners, right? Because I want people to know I'm busy, I'm accomplished. The reason they're hiring you is not to market their home. They're hiring you to sell their home. The marketing is just the method and the tools that you're doing to get that thing sold. So that's why I want to make sure I'm showing pending listings. I'm advertising sold listings. Again, we're either on the listing agent or selling agent, and then some of these PDF guides. And I've even had people, they will print one of the PDF guides. And when they go to an open house, they'll have a couple of the guides printed. And if you leave your email or phone number, then they will send the guide out to the person after the open house. So there's a lot of ways of using kind of all of this stuff together, where you can do an ad with the PDF guide, you can do door knocking with them, you can take it to an open house, right? So there's a lot of ways of using all of these stuff, both on and offline, but you got to do all of it. It's not one or the other, it's all of it.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people think that they have to stay in that column as well. It's like, if I got them offline, I got to send them offline stuff, or I got them online. And I find getting someone offline and moving them online is a great way. You can send out a report, you can send out a guide, you can send out a door knocking or whatever, and then you move them to an online guide, a report, a follow-up system. And when you merge those two, like you said, you're hitting with different channels, so you're catching them in different ways, and you're going to get more out of that than just sending out stuff. And that's the flack, or the beef I have with old school farming, where it's like, just send out something, just send it out, just send it out, just send it out, just send it out. And it's like just trying to get your name out there, but you want them to take action. You want them to do something. You want them to put their hand up. And if you can do that, then you have more opportunity to follow up with them even more. And that's where you're going to get more out of it.
Yeah, it's funny. Especially I see this with brokers more than agents, but I see it with some agents as well. So they're almost scared to generate leads. Like, because they're afraid, like, well, somehow I'm going to generate leads and I'm not going to be able to convert. It's going to be a waste of my time. So they talk about I'm just doing it for branding, or I'm doing marketing. I'm like, so in other words, you're wasting your time and your money.
Exactly.
Nobody responds to branding, right? I mean, if you're Apple and you got $20 billion to spend on branding, go for it. None of us have that much money. So if we're not generating, if we're not having calls to action, if we don't have lead capture with our marketing and branding, 100%. We're kind of wasting our time.
100%. And that's something I've been a firm believer in. Again, since I've been using your programs and other things like that, it's so important to capture people's information, and people don't realize it. And they, like you said, they write it off. Well, I'm just getting my name out there. It's like, that doesn't get enough business.
Yeah, even in all our offline stuff, either we've got a QR code on all of our print marketing, or a super short, easy URL. So like, for example, if a client's going to send out something for a just sold listing, and on there, what we do is we'll say, hey, when this, because this listing sold, your home value has changed. And so we got a really easy, this kind of a URL builder that we have. And so like freehomevalues.net is one of the domains, like 5 or 6 domains. So that's one of them. And you can put whatever you want in the front. So somebody may go like SWFL for Southwest Florida .freehomevalues.net, and that's an easy to use URL to put on all the print marketing that we provide for free. Or they can have a QR code on it, because that way we're taking them from offline to online. Right.
Exactly. Yeah, and that really then ties it in. Like you said, they know that you're doing both. They're seeing that you're active and you're not just a one-trick pony. You're actively involved. So I want to tie into then the database itself, because that really is the important part about it, where I tell agents that your farm really isn't the houses that are in the area. Your farm, that's the funnel for your farm. Your farm, those are the people that are going to funnel in, and you're trying to get them into your database. So what have you seen that gets the most out of the database part of it, not just mailing out? Like, what are you seeing? You mentioned the guides and things like that, but what are you seeing agents doing that's getting the most return from their farm or from their database itself?
Yeah, to be honest, I can't really speak to that too much, other than what I mentioned about the guides.
Okay.
It's really about the best one for that one. Yeah.
Okay. And then from a technology standpoint, where do you see things shifting? Because I know rules have changed, like Facebook rules have changed, and what you can do and what you can't do. Where are you seeing that shift going as far as online marketing?
Man, I'll tell you what, one of the things that we're getting ready to offer, in fact, I just posted on our mastermind group, is video editing capabilities. So for example, to be able to let the agent send us 5 to 10 little video clips, let's say it's an area, they want to do an area video, and to send us some video clips that we'll take and we'll edit, add some music, add some graphics and transitions to, and give them not just a YouTube version, a Facebook version, but an Instagram stories, Snapchat, TikTok, and return the video to them in a multi-format way, so that they can start, because I know like how I am with video. I love shooting video, but it's the editing part. Right. Like, I mean, I know how to use iMovie, but not to the point that I would really be happy to put my logo on it.
Right.
And, going to Fiverr and trying to find someone somewhere in the world to do it, I don't have time for all this stuff. And so, with video, I think it's going to be another big one. But I also think just those relationships, like we talked about in the beginning, with other local people, because it's those relationships. And again, it doesn't have to be like the 4 or 5 I mentioned. Pick your tribe, pick 4 or 5 people in your local community. And I think it's going to be that like online, offline event, video, imaging, and just, constantly beating that drum, both online and offline, is really where it's going to be at. Because, 10 years ago, you had to have a lot of money, right, to really make something like this work. a lot of money and a lot of time.
Yep.
With the power of social media, you can really jumpstart that really, really fast by using social media in a product like Listings to Leads to build your database, but then also use social media to stay in front of your local farm area, right? And that's where we're looking to offer this product, again, where someone like me, who I know what I like, and I like high quality things, and I can shoot the video, that's no problem. But it's the editing and the transitions and the graphics that I would fall down on. And someone like me, I would sit there for probably 2 months trying to figure out how to do it. And then I would give up and I would throw in the towel and I'd say, forget it. That's for the big people, right? And so we want to be able to take that step out of it and try to make, even someone like me look awesome in my local area.
I think video is a critical point of that too. And it's an easy way to bridge that gap between offline and online, to build trust with people, to let people know who you are, what you're doing. And like you said, you can use that with your preferred partners. You can be doing interviews with them. You can have them creating some videos for you, and people will resonate with you a lot more. And I think the more local it is, the better. And that's one of the things I've been pushing, is that the technology is changing. Like, Facebook algorithms are changing them to even more hyper local than they ever were. Facebook now has neighborhoods. I don't know if it's everywhere, but I know in my area there's neighborhoods. So they've created micro groups within the neighborhoods. They're rolling it out, and the shift is moving to these hyper local, and we have an opportunity now to catch that wave and be part of that, because 20 years ago, 15 years ago, when the internet's just started coming around with real estate, everyone went broad and they went too big, and they're like, well, I could go North America, I could do my state, I could do wherever. And the technology is really shifting back. So it'll be good to see agents really hopefully get back to that hyper local specialist.
And that's one of the things that like Zillow can never do. Right. I mean, Zillow's awesome for what they are. I mean, whether you like them or not, they are. But they can never go hyper local. Right. I mean, they can come up with stats for, 94131, and they can show you the high and low, but, they can't make it come alive the way you can. And I think that's really the key. And that's why you don't want to only talk about real estate. Right? Yeah, of course you're a real estate agent, you're a professional like anybody else. But I think being almost that local ambassador is really kind of also the key part of it, because, for example, in one of our follow-up campaigns that we have, one of the follow-ups is, can I send you a list of all the dog parks? Cats do whatever they want. Right. Because, if I'm looking to buy in a certain area and I got a dog, I would like to know where the dog parks are. Right. And so being that local expert, right. And then maybe I even do a video about the best dog parks in the area. Right. And then I give that video to us, and we edit it and flip it out and polish it up for you. And now you got an awesome video on the dog parks in your area. And you don't think that's going to get some views?
Yep, exactly.
Right? You start sharing that with the local dog people, and oh my God, I didn't know that dog park was there. I never knew this one. I heard about that one. And so, and that was just off the top of my head, right? I mean, there are so many ways that you can do this and and I hate to use the word dominate your farm, because it sounds so, but be really engaged in your farm, I think is probably a better way to put it.
Yeah, exactly. And it just takes a little bit outside the box thinking. And then I think the important part is to think like a community member and not like an agent, and think, what would I want? What would be powerful to me? Pretend there's no real estate even involved at all. What would I want? If someone was representing my community, what would I want to hear from them? What would I want to know about what's going on? I think if you think that way, it'll reshift how you do things.
Yeah. If my good friend from high school from over there was moving to my area, what would I want to tell them?
Yeah, exactly. So if you were to give one last piece of advice for someone kind of getting started, wanting to use online and offline marketing, what would you say?
I would say start slowly. Don't try to, for example, a product like Listings to Leads, and pretty much any product you're going to see, none of them are built in a day, right? We've been on for 12 years. We've been iterating for 12 years. When you sign up for any kind of product, just learn the one thing that you're trying to figure out first, and try not to get in over your head. I seriously go look at some of Ryan's older videos. When he invited me to be on this call, that was the first thing I did. And to be honest, I spent more time than I expected just going through your old, because to be honest, I got so inspired. And, awesome. And then, like I said, that's where I really thought of this idea of like, the problem is real estate agents think of their database way too small. And I'm not talking about number wise. I'm talking about you're not thinking about how you can use this database for the benefit of other people and yourself at the same time, like what Ryan and I have been talking about. So that's what I would say. Just start small, and it'll come. It'll but Rome wasn't built in a day. Success is not built in a day. But you just, and like you referenced someone earlier about they did 3 events, didn't have good success. And it was that 4th event that got them through that. And so make sure you got that passion, because it's the passion that will bring you to success, and hard work, of course.
Yeah, the combination adds up, and if you keep at it, it'll work. So that's great advice. I really appreciate it. We always wrap up with a best book. So what's one book that you'd recommend that's had an impact in your life, or you think would have an impact on our viewers?
Yeah, I know it's been said before, but Gary Keller's The One Thing. But I'm gonna add to that, because Gary Keller did an interview with Tim Ferriss, maybe in 2019 or 2020. And that was an awesome interview. And he talks about that book just a little bit in the interview. So I would say that book is awesome, but the podcast with Gary and Tim Ferriss was brilliant as well. So yeah, I would recommend both of those.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll put that in the show notes so people can check that out. And if someone wants to connect with you, find out what you're up to, and find out what Listings to Leads is all about, how can they find out what you're doing?
Yeah, listingstoleads.com. So Instagram at Listings to Leads, YouTube /Listings to Leads, Facebook /Listings to Leads. If you have any questions, anything, we're here to help as much as possible.
Yeah, I can personally attest your program's fantastic. The services you offer is awesome. So that's part of the reason why I want to have you on, because I know what you do, and it's an awesome thing. So if it's great for farming, so if you're thinking about it, check it out. And I know you guys have the free trial as well, so you can get a snapshot of what it's about and see if it's worth it for you. So Scott, thank you for being on here. I really appreciate it. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your insight. And I know my viewers are really going to appreciate this.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. We'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thanks. Thanks for checking out today's episode. If you like more videos like this, be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our Facebook page and our other social media channels. Looking forward to bringing you more great content like this, and happy farming.